The scientific debate about whether we are experiencing climate change is pretty much over. The rising level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is warming the planet, that's clear. Climate scientists are now concentrating on the numbers. Just how warm will it get over the next century? The rest of us wonder how life will change. Is it the end of prosperity? Will climate change wreck the economy? No, in fact, changing the way we generate and use energy gives us enormous opportunity. Nations that adopt new strategies are the ones that are going to prosper this century. We know we can limit the damage caused by CO2 by reducing the amount we pump into the atmosphere, but this is no longer just a matter of social conscience or personal choice. Any moment, governments are going to legislate to penalise heavy carbon producers. Pretty soon, everything you buy will have a carbon audit somewhere in the label. Manufacturers who have a high carbon footprint will have to buy carbon credits. Profits will go down, costs will go up, and consumers won't buy it. Many European countries are already planning for a carbon-driven market. In Germany, for example, they are investing heavily in renewable energy sources. By 2020, a quarter of the electricity used will be from renewable energy, wind or solar generation. The rest will come from natural gas-fired power stations and some hydro, all low carbon cost. Even if a carbon credit scheme was introduced today, this German car wouldn't attract a heavy loading. The electricity that's used to produce the car comes from relatively clean, low carbon sources, and therefore it means low cost. Especially compared to this, Australia's homegrown Ford has a huge carbon cost involved in its production. And that's because electricity in Australia depends on coal. Australia has 30 coal-fired power stations like this one. They produce nearly 80% of Australia's power. Coal is the staple food of our energy diet and has made us carbon obese. Coal power is cheap at the moment, but it produces millions of tonnes of CO2 every year. While the rest of the world is going on a carbon diet, Australia is the fat man in the corner. At home, we can turn off all the lights we want. We can live in total darkness, not use any electricity at all, and it still wouldn't do anything to reduce the carbon cost of our manufacturing. The irony is that we have, potentially, a much bigger resource opportunity than coal: solar power. The Australian deserts are potential solar powerhouses that could export clean electricity across Asia. At the moment, solar power is more expensive than coal, but pricing carbon will quickly reverse that. We have plenty of land available for wind farms too, and it's these industries that have much better long-term employment opportunities than coal. We've become economically dependent on coal to the extent that there are currently millions of dollars being spent to find ways of turning coal into a clean fuel. And here we bump into the politics of climate change. The firmly entrenched mantra that what's good for the environment is bad for the economy. Combating global warming, or at least reducing the temperature rise, is now on the international agenda. The politics are complex, but the good news is that the current clean industrial revolution is being driven by something more powerful than politics, and that's money. Globally, industry has seen a massive opportunity, and companies are adopting clean technology because it'll make them money. And in part two, we'll see how.